Throughout this month, I'm going to be speaking about and writing about safety in the workplace. I am fully aware that October was Safe Work Month. However, safety is something that isn't just confined to one month. I'm sure you'd agree. It is every month of the year. And it is something that we need to keep, not only talking about, but actually doing something about, because as you're probably fully aware, incidents, injuries, and unfortunately fatalities continue to happen. I know that there's been a lot in the media around the 4 fatalities that we've had in mining this year, and I'm actually going to be spending most of this week in the mining community that has been most affected by those fatalities, because it's within their region. Yet the reality is that fatalities, workplace injuries, incidents, what have you, are obviously not just confined to mining. I mean, mining seems to be, what does get media attention. I mean, some of the other areas that do tend to have a lot of workplace injuries, incidents, and fatalities are things like agriculture. It seems to go unnoticed. But there is a lot that goes on in that space. And if you look at the statistics, go to the Safe Work Australia website and look at the stats. They are from 2023. But the reality is they're not great. I mean, it's something like 195 people across our country lost their lives when they went to work one day. They never came home. And the state that we live in Queensland, if you're in Queensland, is actually the second worst state for the fatalities. And that was something that I wasn't really conscious of. And I think it's, in this day and age when we have so much at our fingertips to, live our lives in a way that we can be protected, it just continues to happen. And that's because there is so much that sits behind this and why incidents, injuries, and unfortunately fatalities do happen. I mean, I speak a lot with people around things like fatigue, 7-day rosters, 12, 13 hours, sometimes 14-hour shifts. That's not healthy. And you look at what it does to the brain, especially by the time you get into the 5th shift, it's like, you're really tired, and then it's really hard to make the right decisions. And that's not trying to lay blame anywhere. There are so many things that come into each of these incidents, so many contributing factors, and obviously each one stands on its own and needs to be investigated. It's just sometimes you wish that we weren't having to have a fatality to have to learn, what we need to do differently or how we need to do something better. There's a couple of things too that I'm going to mention here is that, I stand in rooms and I facilitate programs around different things. And unfortunately, I do hear a lot of people who don't want to speak up or fear they can't, or if they have, there's been some sort of repercussion for that. And really, that should not be the case. Some people might say, yeah, in an ideal world. But when it comes to safety, we should feel we can speak up, because it could be the whole difference between someone going home or not. The other little thing that I will often speak with people about is you even look at, if you want to search the stats or news stories, it'll talk about accidents in the workplace, mining accidents or what have you. If we can explain why something happened, it is not an accident. It's an incident. And in a lot of these cases, we can explain why it happened and where the root cause was, where all the steps were that we could have stopped this from happening. So over the next few weeks, I hope that you will, tune in, watch these videos, read my articles about a subject that is very close to my heart, and I know it's something that others feel very strongly about as well, because it is an interesting subject. And when is enough enough, and are we doing enough to make sure that we all go home safely.